It really is an amazing location and history, and the significance of it, I think, has been understated over the years. So the thing about the Mount Union Cemetery Association is that it is all voluntary.
And so we're delighted to have this opportunity to share our knowledge here.
Yeah, just as a community resource for space. You know, that's one of the things about cemeteries is that they have this space in an urban setting that is, so we're happy to have people come and spend time here.
Let's start back in Kentucky.
Okay.
In the early 19th century. There was born a man who was enslaved at the time, and his name was Reuben, and ultimately was sold to Robert Shipley. Reuben, who is now Reuben Shipley, was married and had 2 sons and worked for Robert Shipley for many years.
And the promise to Reuben from Robert Shipley was that if he would bring the family to Oregon, that he would be freed when he got here. And that indeed did happen. And so he became a free man here and worked for another pioneer, Eldridge Hartless. And Eldridge Hartless raised cattle. So the Hartless family is here. This is William. Eldridge is down here. And so Reuben Shipley made a good showing and made enough money to purchase the acreage that you see here. It went from here all the way down to 100 acres. He built a little house down there, planted a black locust tree, which there is a black locust still on that property.
We'd love to get some seedlings.
Yes, we would.
Of the,
yeah,
of the locust tree.
That's
on
my list.
Project
yeah.
list. Reuben strove to buy his wife back in Missouri, and possibly later his 2 sons, to come join him. He found that his wife had passed away. And as to his 2 sons, their fate is lost to history.
The intriguing things about it being involved in the cemetery is that the holes in the story are these mysteries that happen to real people. There were some people working over here digging up some old sod and putting down the red rock. And they discovered a marble headstone for a child who we knew was buried there, but we didn't think she had a stone. He established himself here, and we don't know how, but he met Mary Jane Holmes.
And she's a very significant figure in Oregon history.
The parents were Robin and Polly.
And
yes.
they were also
enslaved family.
They were enslaved to Nathaniel Ford, who purchased Rick Rial. Since they were now in Oregon, it was illegal for them to be held in bondage, and they sued for their freedom. Unfortunately, the 3 children of Polly and Robin, Ford held in bondage. Reuben, he sought to court and marry one of those 3 children, Mary Jane Holmes. Ford was asking $700–800.
Yeah, somewhere between $700 and $750 is the number that has been reported.
And he paid it. And so he bought Mary Jane.
Their 6 kids went to school with the neighboring kids, and people met at their house for church services and meals.
I would call them a pillar of this community. And then there came a time when Reuben was approached by 3 of his neighbors and suggesting that he donate the land that we're standing on, 2 acres, to be a cemetery. Reuben agreed to donate the land with the proviso that anyone, that black folks and white folks, would be allowed to be buried here. With that, the land was surveyed and established as the Mount Union Cemetery.
And even though this story starts then, we also can't forget the people who were here before, that by the time the Shipleys and the Holmes arrived in this area, there was not a large native population anymore, but they were here before that. And so there's history to this land that needs to be told.
Their youngest child came back here and erected the current stone marking his family's burial space. Here in the shade of this holly is a large reddish stone, and that marks the lot number 10, which is the burial place for the Shipley family. And that's where one of our most curious mysteries enters.
So at some point, young Edward decided that the family name should change
Yes.
from Shipley to Ficklin. And we don't know why he thought that.
Yeah, that's a riddle.
It is a riddle. You know, we don't want to be the purveyors of rumor and speculation, although we can't help but speculate because we want the gaps filled in. It's interesting, there were trends in monuments, in headstones.
Historical trends.
Historical trends, yeah. And so you'll find that there were, you know, the round ones were in a certain decade, and then the really tall ones were in a, you know, different decade. Yeah, it's kind of fun. As people learn more and more about genealogy and about this cemetery, that we will hear from or find the descendants of Mary Jane and Reuben. Are there photographs? Are there letters? Is there anything that could be shared? That's a dream of ours,
So good.
you know. So when I was a child, I would walk across the fields, and this maple tree right here was much smaller at that time. And I would climb the tree and did that for a decade. Yeah. You know, I'd be here at dusk, I'd bring a book, and the foxes and the hawks and the snakes and the raccoons. I mean, it was just a wonderful place to be, and it still is. You know, it's still great. I can't climb the tree anymore. There. You know, so this is not just a beautiful place, but a place of history that is really significant. It's really fun.